Welcome to Nightmare Echoes. Listen, scream, and embrace your horror obsession. I'm your host, Eleazar, and today Joseph is here to break down George A. Romero's The Crazies and his 2010 remake. How do the two films focus their narratives differently? How does the remake ramp up the scares for a new generation? And how well does the original hold up after all these years? If you dare to follow us, all our links in the description. Next week on the podcast, The New Mutants. But until then, a movie that asks, does your voice sound different when you pee? Hello everybody, welcome to Nightmare Echoes. I'm your host Eleazar. I'm joined again by co-host Joseph. Joseph, how's it going?
It's going all right, man. Yesterday I smoked a brisket. It was delicious.
I'm definitely jealous of that, man. We actually made some homemade enchiladas. My middle child is really good at that.
Nice.
Which is amazing. Took some to work today. Everybody was jealous.
There you go. So, I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah.
Have you had any experience with people not in their right state of mind?
Yeah, this question brought one specific example where I'm very prompt at being on time to work. I love to show up 30 minutes early if I can. I can remember one time when I was in Rhode Island and I was taking the bus and I had to call work to tell them that there was a person who was either drunk or not in their right mind who was occupying the bus, and the bus driver would not move because if anybody is intoxicated or under the influence of any way, he can't drive the bus. So everybody trying to get to work that day was not allowed to go anywhere. And so I'm calling to work like, hey, there's a person that's basically taking the bus over and we can't leave because they're acting crazy and the bus driver refuses to drive. He's called the police. We're just waiting for them to come out. And some guy who's also just there pissed off in the morning, he's like ready to yell at the bus driver. He's like, what is wrong? Why are we moving? He's like, I can't move. This person's under the influence. They're acting strange. I can't drive with them. The police are on the way. He's like, this person right here? Like, yeah, can you open the door? Are people allowed to get off? He's like, sure, if you want to get off, you're allowed to get off. Great. Can you open the door for me? And the bus driver opens the door. So he grabs the backpack of the person not in the right mind, throws it out into the street. So that person goes, damn it. He goes after his backpack, the driver closes the door, and everybody cheers as the driver drives off without the person on the bus. Of course, I get to work and everybody wants to hear the story. I had to tell like 15 times because they were like, I think he's on a bus and someone's taking over the bus. I don't know what's going on. It's crazy, but hopefully he's okay. So everybody was worried about me. And then when I get to work, I get to tell the story a lot.
All right. Yeah, so I worked at a hospital, and it was one of the few hospitals that actually had a psychiatric ward where they actually would treat people. I had to go up there at my job in the time, and I'd had to go in to get to an office back there, but I would have to go, and there would be people in different altered states of consciousness. They were pretty sedated on, I don't know, Haldol or whatever, that's kind of just making them pretty chill. It definitely felt like, you ever see 12 Monkeys?
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt a lot like that, less talkative.
Monkey.
No one was talking about...
Monkey.
Yes. Yeah, but definitely had that vibe. Anyways, yeah, seen some people in some different states for sure.
Sure.
So anyways, I wanted to bring up that question because we today are talking about two movies.
Yeah, The Crazies and The Crazies.
Yeah, they didn't even change the name.
The first one came out in 1973. It was directed by George A. Romero, who had already done Night of the Living Dead. He also did what is now called Season of the Witch. He filmed it under the title Jack's Wife. And then the studio changed the names to Hungry Wives. And then they tried to advertise it as like a softcore porn. There is some sex in it, not really much nudity at all. But it's really about a unhappy wife. Her husband's always going out of town on business trips. Her daughter, who just doesn't appreciate her mother at all. And she hears rumors about a local woman who is into witchcraft. And her and her friend go visit her, and she gets obsessed with the idea and starts researching witchcraft on her own. And things get crazy after that. So that was his movie, and it's barely horror. I mean, it's horror adjacent because of the witchcraft. The blood's completely fake looking. You know, it was the 70s.
Yeah, they didn't have the budget, and like these films... Definitely, the studios didn't probably...
But it was a fun watch.
Okay.
And I liked it. I watched it just so I could know what he'd done beforehand. Obviously, we've already covered Night of the Living Dead, which revolutionized what a zombie movie was. Because before that, it was just like witch doctors controlling the undead. where now zombies roam free on their own.
Was it actually undead, or was it more like the voodoo thing? I'll put you under a spell.
Yeah,
Totally like not what actually voodoo is.
right. But I think there's also like necromancers that would bring back the dead and make them zombies as well. So
make them into undead.
right. Yeah, exactly. And so this movie, when I heard about it, it was advertised to me as Romero's zombie movie without zombies. And I was like, well, that's fascinating. I like that kind of take. Like when people get a crazy subject and it's like, hey, can you do this? But this is the twist. I was like, all right, I got to check this out. So I was excited to watch it. My dad was excited too because him growing up in the 70s, for me to take interest in a movie that came out from when he was a child. I think he liked that a lot.
So did he see it back in the day?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
he watched it with me, which is kind of cool,
Sure, yeah, definitely. So, I don't think you talked about it in the Night of the Living Dead episode, but did you know that Romero filmed some segments for Mr. Rogers?
No, I think that's pretty cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers filmed in Pittsburgh, and anyone that has probably seen any of Romero's films, he did a lot of work out of Pittsburgh and the surrounding area. So that's kind of where the two cross paths, and yeah, he just kind of just filmed segments for the show. He wasn't, it's not horrific or anything. It was just like normal stuff.
Sure.
So yeah, the 2010 remake is done by Brett Eisner. He did Sahara really before this and some Super Bowl commercials, and then he did this film. Scott Kozar kind of did the screenplay, and just want to mention him because he also did the rewrite for the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well.
Okay.
When both have done pretty well.
Okay, let's talk about the characters for a little bit. So the 1973 one, we have Will McMillan, who portrays David. He's a firefighter and a veteran of the Vietnam War. He's in a romantic relationship with Judy. This was his second acting role in a film, and he still works to this day. We have Lane Carroll, who portrays Judy, a nurse by trade in a romantic relationship with David. She's also pregnant. Not too many acting roles, though she did act alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger in his first film, Hercules in New York. Then we have Harold Wayne Jones, who portrays Clank. He's a firefighter and also a Vietnam veteran. Once vied for Judy's romantic attention. Not too many acting roles, but he did work with Romero again in Night Riders, 1981.
Yeah, so the analogous characters in the remake, Timothy Olyphant plays David, but instead of a firefighter, he is a sheriff. For horror films, he portrayed Mickey in Scream 2 in 1997. He also starred in Dreamcatcher, based off Stephen King. Was it a book or is it a...
It's a book. It's a novel.
Okay. And I know him as Seth Bullock, who was also a sheriff in the HBO series Deadwood. Rhoda Mitchell portrayed Judy, but instead of a nurse, it's modern times, women can be doctors now. And she is the local town doctor. But in the horror genre, she was in Pitch Black, which has been covered. Who'd you cover that one with?
Margot.
All right, Margot. Did she like Rhoda Mitchell? Or did she have things to say about her?
Oh, I don't remember.
I know how Margot gets. Like, always talking trash.
Whatever.
I'm kidding. I just want to make you laugh, dude.
That's funny. No, I don't remember, actually. But I know we had fun talking about the episode,
Sure.
but I don't remember. I like that the character was flawed. Like, she wasn't a perfect character. She definitely had a secret. A lot of the group had secrets that they were hiding from each other in that movie, which I think made it a great movie.
Yeah. Besides Pitch Black, she was in Silent Hill. Then there is also Joe Anderson, who portrays Russell. He kind of is like a version of Clank. He is the deputy to the sheriff here. And he had a small role in Creep, and he was also in The Ruins as far as other horror films.
Yeah, I think the wiki lists him as Russell Clank.
Oh, is that like a last name?
I think Clank's the last name, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because in the 73 one, I know at some points he calls him Clanker.
Yeah, like a nickname.
Yeah, so I didn't know if it was, yeah. I thought it was a nickname. I honestly thought Clank was a nickname, like he, I don't know, had one of the big machine guns maybe when he was down in Vietnam. I don't know. They kind of mentioned that they were both Vietnam vets, but they don't really go into details.
Right.
As they say, most people that fought in war don't really like talking about their time in the military.
Sure.
If they were in the shit.
Setting-wise, the original one took place 1973 in Evans City, Pennsylvania. It was also filmed there. The population inside the perimeter was 3,613. And it appears to be autumn. It's also the same place where they filmed Night of the Living Dead, so the town was very welcoming to have Romero back.
Yeah. In the 2010 remake, it is in a fictional town called Ogden Marsh, Iowa. But it was actually filmed in the state of Georgia. but a little bit in Iowa as well. I think it's more for like the background shots. The population of Ogden Marsh in the film is 1,260, and it takes place in spring.
And then I like how the stories are told differently. In the 1973 movie, we see a lot of different points of views. We definitely get David, Judy, and Clank. They ride along with Artie and Kathy for a lot of the movie. But we also get a lot of viewpoints from the military people. We have a colonel, a scientist who's been forced to go into the containment area. He has to work on a cure with very limited supplies. He's working out of like a science lab at a high school, which is not great.
Yeah.
It kind of focuses on how horrible run the government is in this time of disaster.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, because like you think about it, when this movie came out in 73, obviously the aforementioned Vietnam War was still going on. Also, the Kent State Massacre happened in 70, so just 3 years before this film came out. So maybe it might make you think twice on your government if they're going to just kill a bunch of students protesting.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just kind of a little strange because today we have a lot of protests as well. But yeah, so yeah, the 2010, they kind of took it in a different route. They basically focus on the main characters that we just mentioned, David, Judy, and Russell. The same stuff is going on. We just don't get what's going on, which makes it good. If you've never seen this 73 version, you're just going in, oh, I know this is a remake, but let's see how it is. And then you watch the 1973 one. I think they fit very nicely together, and it's kind of why I wanted to talk about Bo here with this episode.
Yeah, I like that the 2010 one is definitely much more horror, where the 1973 one seems like commentary on government and government handling things really poorly, while the 2010 one had a bigger budget and was like, you know what, let's make this gory. Let's make this movie without zombies and make them look more zombie-ish. Although they still talk, they still have their memories. They can make decisions based on those memories, but they still seem just crazier.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they release this movie under different names as well?
Oh, I don't remember that detail.
Well, because like when you watch the film, at least it doesn't say like a title card, The Crazies. It actually has a title card that says Codename Trixie.
Oh, you know what? I think it was filmed under that, but I think they released it under The Crazies.
Okay.
But I think you're right. It's just like how, like I talked about Jack's wife. He filmed it under Jack's wife, and even the person in the commentary, this film critic, would always refer to it as Jack's wife because that's what the director Romero intended it to be. Then the studio released it as Hungry Wives, but now it has been relabeled decades later as Season of the Witch, which is fascinating.
Okay.
According to Wikipedia, it's also known as Codename Trixie.
Okay.
So the opening sequences of the movies are a little different, but they mirror each other in some ways. In the 1973 version, two children are at home. They're getting ready for bed. They find their mother has been killed. Then they see that their father is going a little crazy. He's pouring kerosene everywhere. He lights their house on fire. We also get to meet David and Judy, who are in bed. There is some nudity here. The siren for a fire in the town goes off. She's like, I don't hear a siren, because she wants to stay there and make out with him, until her phone goes off because she's being called into work. And he does the same joke back, like, I don't hear a phone. I think it's a little playful. It sets them up as they love each other. And I think, instantly like this couple, which is great. But they have to go their separate ways because of this disaster.
Yeah, another thing about that, too, I know it's probably taboo. I mean, I know when I was a kid, it was pretty taboo to have a child out of wedlock. And yeah, they are not married. She makes sure, she kind of says something about, well, I think they had more than just making out plans because they were talking about hurting the baby.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think she didn't want him to go because she wanted to have sex.
Yeah, I know. There goes our PG rating now at this point, but you were talking about sex.
It's rare if we're going to make a PG one.
I mean, the Bible Belt, they're going to okay, we can't have this podcast because they don't talk about sex ed, so, it's just abstinence.
I don't know if that's our target audience, sir.
Yeah, so the opening sequence in the remake is a little bit different. It's drawn out a little bit. You have basically scenes of the rural landscape where this film takes place. Middle America, some people might refer to it as. But it's just a sheriff kind of driving on the outskirts of town, into town. He drives by the doctor's office, and there's a short sequence with the doctor and an employee. who gets a text and she wants to go see a baseball game, but the doctor is psychic. She already knows what's up. She knows that her employee is in a relationship with one of the baseball players and she wants to go to the baseball game, but she says that she wants to go and take care of her sick aunt. And she sees right through that and tells her, yeah, go have fun.
Yeah, that character's played by Danielle Panabaker, which I happen to love from The Flash and the whole DC Universe shows. I mean, I watched her in 8 seasons of The Flash. She's pretty darn good, so it was just cool to see her in this.
Cool. Yeah. The sheriff continues to drive, and he pulls into the parking lot outside of a baseball diamond where the high school baseball team is currently playing. In these small rural towns, you don't have a college or a big pro sports stadium to go see games at, so you entertain yourself with the high school stuff. I always think of
The Bad News Bears.
The Bad News Bears, sure, but Dazed and Confused, where...
Oh, yeah.
Because he's a football guy, right, in that movie, and he's like, got that arm. He's always talking about him, and it's just like these old people.
Yeah.
They're so far removed from high school, but yeah, that's what they get to do to entertain themselves.
Yeah.
Not talking shit about it. It's just a thing that happens.
Sure.
But anyways, he gets there, gets coffee. He has a little banter with the school principal because the principal wants him to just not pay for his coffee. And the sheriff's little quick remark is, it's not going to get you out of your ticket, sir. And he's like, charge him.
Start him a tab.
Yeah. So, a little like everybody knows each other, basically. Small town vibes and stuff. But then they go and he's at the fence watching the game. Up comes his Deputy Russell, and they're chatting a little bit about Scotty, who throws really fast, and he also drives fast. And that's when they see one of their neighbors, a citizen of Ogden Marsh, who walks out onto the outfield. It zooms in for the viewer, and we see that the guy is carrying a shotgun. The deputy and sheriff pick up on that and immediately go out onto the field. They tell everybody else, the players, to get off the field. The sheriff kind of just saunters on up and is like, hey, Rory, what's going on? We're playing a baseball game and you're bringing a shotgun. Rory doesn't give any response. He just pulls the shotgun up to his hip, points it at the sheriff. The sheriff kind of has to do the whole unbuckle his holster. He then pulls it up around eye level to take aim, and Sheriff David quick draws and shoots him with one shot. Of course, with like half the town probably. A good amount of the town are watching the game, and yeah, he just killed a guy on the baseball diamond. Then they go and play baseball afterwards. Unfortunately,
everybody's going to judge him on this action, and it's something the family's not going to forgive him about, even though they're not going to be in their rational mind. They're going to be pissed off because their loved one just died.
Yeah, they don't actually play baseball, I'm pretty sure. I think that's it. You did not react to that. You just went on and was like, oh, I was making a joke, Brad. Come on.
So I was like, I don't remember that going that way.
No. So another town member, wife, has brought her husband in because he's acting weird. Doctor checks him out. His vitals, all that stuff, seem fine. The doctor's asking him questions, and he's answering the questions. There's one moment where he says the same answer to a different question, which makes the doctor kind of second, like, wait, what? And then he catches himself. Then that wife is worried about her husband, goes out to check on him because he's out in a big shed building that houses the tractor. When she gets out there, the lights are on and the implement's engaged. I believe it's the combine. She's trying to yell at him. Of course, it's very, like, ominous because it's a big tractor machine. She's standing right in front of these whirling blades and shit.
I was terrified.
Yeah. It makes you think, okay, she's about to run over by the tractor, right? No, it doesn't happen. She goes up there thinking that he's going to be in the vehicle. He's not. That's when their son screams. She immediately runs, thinking something's going on with her son. It might be the worst, that the father's doing it. So she gets back up there, finds him. They hide in a closet. The son mentions that the dad had a knife. That's why he ran away from the dad. That gives you, the viewer, like, okay, is there going to be stabbing violence? But no, he walks by the door as she's peeking out through the keyhole, looking under the door to see his footsteps walk by. And there's a little jump scare where he suddenly brings his eye up to the keyhole, and then he just locks the door.
Yeah.
Next scene is him pouring kerosene or some other kind of igniting fluid down the stairs, and he lights the house on fire.
Terrifying.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in the original, one of the two kids survives. They both make it to the hospital, but one dies pretty fast. And
I mean,
no one survives this one.
third, fourth degree burns will definitely do that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Then we go into when people start getting sick. In the 1973 one, David arrives at the burning house being dropped off by Judy. This is where we meet Clank, and he's kind of that really good friend that's still a pain in the ass. I think we all have that kind of friend. They're both firefighters. They describe what they witnessed when they got there, which was a man laughing like a hyena, but then crying like a baby. When David sees the man in the back of the police cruiser, the man is concerned about his car, which is burning in the house, and he quickly becomes worried about the trees in his yard. Another later portrayal shows a man named Frank welcoming the gas mask army personnel immediately after the military men have been killing civilians.
Yeah, so since we just mentioned that, so the character that burns his family in the 2010s version is named William. And there's a similar scene where David and Russell get to the house. The firefighters got there first, and they said that he was just mowing his yard while his house was burning. Of course, when they get there, he's not saying anything, so they kind of do the portrayal of the initial. It's just people stare, frozen in place. It's almost like when I watch this on a rewatch, it's scary because they have just no emotion in their face.
Sure.
And it reminds me, like, I guess it's kind of one of the reasons why, I mean, Mike Myers' mask. I mean, obviously, it's William Shatner, and it's objectively scary to many people. But no, it's just like a dead-looking face, you know? And I think that says a lot. At least for me, it works on some level where it's like, okay, why isn't that look? But that's kind of what I thought when I see, especially Will's face, this character, because like you're going to see him a little bit more, because, of course, any good sheriff, you're going to arrest the person who just killed his family.
Of course.
And you see him again in the jail, where he is just standing in jail, and he's been doing it for hours, according to what they say in the dialogue. And he's just standing, staring blankly out at them. He might look a little bit menacing at that point, but yeah. But the same way with Rory, who was the guy that got shot on the diamond, also kind of just not really paying attention, kind of just staring off into space. No, like, little facial muscle. It's like all just kind of dead. And that was one of the things they did with the makeup, is they did a full casting of the head and neck. So that probably helped keep them looking dead when you have a bunch of silicone on your face to kind of just mask those little facial muscle movements.
The makeup was great.
Yeah. That's definitely something that comes with a budget, because, Romero did not have that to do. So let's talk about what they look like later.
Yeah, okay, great. In the 1973 one, the illness seems to affect the citizens in different ways. Many get violent, while others seem to lose their sense of personal safety, and one sense of boundaries. Clank is shown in a few scenes of getting belligerent and confrontational with those around him, has awareness that he's becoming ill, and he makes a final choice to help David and Judy, where he sacrifices himself. But he's able to take out a lot of the military people with, like they suck at shooting. This guy is just like a marksman. He's taken out a ton of them, and it's only when his gun jams or he runs out of bullets that he's able to be taken out. But he planned to go in there dying because he knew he was getting sick.
Yeah.
We have Artie, who's the father of Kathy, who begins to fill up, make out with his own daughter. I perceive it as a rape. Different people interpret it different ways. You do see blood on her lip and between her legs after the scene. I've heard some theories of people think the father was always abusing his daughter, even before the virus. I didn't read that way in the film, but that's the way some people...
See, I don't think that, because right before when that scene occurs, or about to, he says his wife's name, May.
Yeah.
And it just kind of goes to you're out of your mind, you're not thinking straight. And so the way I take that is that he thinks Kathy is May.
Right, I agree with you. It's like it lifted some boundary and he doesn't see anything wrong with what he's about to do all of a sudden. So I took that a little bit differently. I took that as like, you look just like your mother. And because now I'm crazy, there's nothing wrong with this action I'm about to do. Like, there's no boundary there. He doesn't think so.
It's hard getting in the mindset of a crazy person.
Exactly. Afterwards, he is found hanged. And I get the impression that he did it to himself. The characters in there question Clank, because Clank did find him in the middle of the act, pulled him off his daughter, and fought with him. Clank says he didn't do it at all. I kind of don't think Clank did it, but it's left a little ambiguous. If the guy killed himself because he felt guilty for what he did to his daughter, or if Clank was like, okay, this guy's too far gone, even though I'm sick as well, this guy can't live on, and Clank sought justice in his own way. I don't know.
I wouldn't call it a fight, though, because Artie does not fight back. It's mostly Clank just wailing on him. Understandably so. Like,
Sure.
understandably so. Like, that is
Right.
just incest is a horrible, sick, fucked up thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah. And obviously, Clank's not in his right mind either, so...
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, yeah, you want to talk about other things we see?
Yeah, one more thing. So Kathy, after the event, she's sick as well. She doesn't seem to be bothered what just happened, really. She sees the blood, so either she's traumatized or not. I think she's already sick. She's out of her mind. She goes out, sees the soldiers. She wants to play with them. They know she's sick. They just kill her. And when she's shot, she has this look on her face, and she just says, oh, like she was so confused that there was any danger at all, and she just dies. What I do find funny behind the scenes, though, is that the actress had this vision of having this elaborate death and this amazing, dramatic, like on stage, I'll fall, oh no, I'm gonna die. And Romero was like, no, I just want you to look at the camera and say, oh. And the actress feels like it is pretty iconic, and people love that portrayal, and have told her over the years how great that death scene was.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about the actress that plays Kathy a little later on. Yeah. In the 2010, as we mentioned, there's a budget difference between the original and this one. And they didn't want to go full zombie, because again, these aren't zombies. But you got to remember also, 28 days later and 28 weeks later had come out before this remake was made. So I think they definitely had that in mind, because again, those aren't zombies in that one. They didn't want to be too similar to that. So what they did is they did, as I mentioned, silicone casting of the face and neck. And so as the disease progressed, their idea was they wanted to use real-world diseases as their kind of...
Reference point.
Reference point, thank you. Yeah, they wanted to use real-world diseases as the reference, such as tetanus and rabies. So yeah, causing the neck muscles basically to look taut and just basically like rigid. And not to take something from 28 Days Later, but yeah, rage-filled.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you see that later on, chiefly with these poachers that were in an earlier scene where David basically finds a plane in the river that basically caused codename Trixie to get out into the water system here and spread like wildfire amongst the town. But you see that with them, and as the disease progresses, I mentioned Will too in the jail. You see him going from standing there. At one point they come back to the jail and he is laying and bleeding. And you don't know if it's like self-inflicted wounds or if it's just part of the disease process where it just kind of bubbles up. I believe in the behind-the-scenes thing, they did mention that stuff kind of just wants to come out, like blood and stuff. So I think that's what it was. But it looks like he's in a pool of blood, and Russell almost opens the gel, but that wise Sheriff David says, hold on, wait a second. And then, of course, there's a jump scare where the infected Will reaches through the bars, almost grabbing Russell. But yeah, they definitely had the budget there to go with effects there to make it do their best. I mean, any kind of film where somebody's not acting right and is doing violence probably going to be compared to a zombie. So
right. And then we get the portrayal of the military, which is something that the 1973 one focused on a lot more. First, we get Major Ryder, who's trying to set up a perimeter. Then we get Colonel Peckham running the military operations. Other government officials outside the city, presumably the Pentagon. We also talked to the president at some point. We only see the back of his head, which is hilarious. And that's because he's played by Romero himself. Romero's also the voice on the radio the whole time when they're doing these stupid checks that they have to do, which I can't not mention. Every time they call in, they have to take a recording of their voice.
Voice print check.
Thank you so much. Voice print check. They have to do that, and then they take time to authenticate it. It's really them with a computer without ever closing the line, because if you close the line, you have to start the process over.
Yeah, it really annoys the scientist at one point because he's trying to call his old lab, I believe. Then he also wants to call Colonel Peckham as well, and he can't because he only has one line, and he just gets so fucking frustrated.
Yeah, they can't do three-way calling.
Yeah.
It's awesomely horrible. So those government officials that are outside the city are making contingency plans, which include destroying the town with a nuclear bomb. And they are asking for permission to leave a line open constantly so they don't have to go through this verification system. So if they want to drop the nuke, they can do it right away.
Yeah, because they're all worried about the spread of it. I think they say, in the 73 version, they already reference, like, We don't know. Some trucker could have already come down, had a glass of water, and been out of here already before we even had the perimeter up. So,
Right.
yeah. It's a race against time, and they don't know when the race started, basically. Yeah, because, like, their interaction with the townspeople starts out kind of peaceful, but then it definitely does not go well. That's the one thing, to me, it's hard to tell, at least on first watch, who's infected and who's just revolting. Because, like, they don't have the makeup on or anything like that, and it's just like, okay, are they just fighting back at the military? You know, they don't trust the law enforcement and the government?
Sure.
I mean, we have a lot of real-world cases since this movie came out, Ruby Ridge and Waco and other times where they just don't want to bring in the military or FBI or anything because they're afraid of people shooting each other. And, yeah.
It's interesting, too, because you brought it up a little bit, I'd like to reference that in 28 Weeks Later, they also have the point where they don't care if you're human or zombie. They just kill, human or infected. They just kill you no matter what. They're gassing you, they're blowing you up, they're setting you on fire. Even their own military personnel, if they're not with their group and they see them running out, they're killing them. And that's crazy.
I mean, no one wants to get sick and die. So, yeah, That's the paranoia that they face in both these films is that, no, it's really hard to tell. Obviously, in the 28 franchise, is that what it's called? I don't know. 28, it's 28 weeks, whatever you want to call it. That franchise gets so fast, the turning, whereas it's not nearly as fast here. It's just, do they say a time limit in this one, in the 73 version?
No, they don't. They do in the remake.
Yeah, they do. It's 48 hours in the remake. Okay. Yeah. So since it's like only from the perspective of David, Judy, and Russell, the times you get the interaction with the military, and definitely the way they do it, it was a lot more peaceful in the 73 version at first, but they are just going in, taking people, putting them on a bus. Like, they're not asking questions. At gunpoint, they are taking people, and yeah, it's very similar kind of to what we see right now in our real world, unfortunately. But yeah, it's very fast, quick, and Judy, because she's pregnant, they take her to this sorting facility, which is the high school, but they had put a fence in, I guess, the football field. And Judy also, she is also pregnant. I don't think I mentioned that, but that's the other, as Judy is in 73 version, Dr. Judy is also pregnant. So she's been running a fever because she's been pregnant. I've never been pregnant myself. So have you been pregnant, sir?
My wife has 3 times.
Okay. Did she ever run a fever just because she was pregnant? Is that
I
a
don't
common thing?
remember. Like, was it a big deal to me? I don't know.
Wow, dude, you were fucked up, man.
It's highly possible. I remember the 34 hours of labor of the first child, I'll tell you that much.
And after that one, it's just like, whatever. No, I'm just kidding. I've had friends that when they got it, they had gestational diabetes. Like, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think it's totally plausible that she could be running a fever just because, hey, I'm eating for 2 now and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, not to get too off topic, but they're separating people who have fevers and who don't. And Judy has a fever, so they run her through, and it's this really creepy, everybody's in like the thick, air-filled bunny suits that you saw in such movies as Contagion, Congo?
Sure.
Yeah. So I couldn't remember if that was the name of the movie.
Outbreak is another one.
Is it Outbreak or is it Congo that I'm thinking of? No, it's Outbreak. It's Outbreak.
Yeah.
Congo is a totally different one with like a robot.
Congo's in Africa. It was written by Michael Crichton and then turned into a movie.
Okay. All right.
It's kind of action thrillery.
Yeah. I can't remember which one. It's like, it was just like Armageddon and what was the other film? Impact?
Volcano?
No, there was 2 volcano movies too. The studios would do that, and so I just get confused on which one is which. Damn you, studios! Anyways.
At least they're named different.
Cut all that. They are named different.
When they had the Poseidon and the Poseidon Adventure released the same year, they did 2 remakes the same year, 2 different companies. I don't know how that happened. Neither of them had Gene Hackman. What the heck?
Yeah. Damn it, we got so off topic there. Shit.
That's okay. I'm biting my tongue. There's a lot of off topics I'm ready to dive into.
I know. Yeah, so Judy is pulled in because of the fever. She's strapped to a bed, and everybody's in the big, air puffy bunny suits. And she gets put in with other sick people. You hear some people crying, general coughing, stuff you would have for any kind of respiratory illness. And then you also have some people laughing like hyenas in there as well. So it's just, yeah, the little nods to the... He got it. He got it. Somebody, I don't know, check his water system at the house he's at because, yeah, his whole family could have it.
Mountain Dew.
Oh, it's just the Mountain Dew. So
Yeah.
Codename Trip C is in Mountain Dew now, huh?
Yeah, that's
Good
not what I
marketing
said.
thing, right?
Not what I said at all.
Yeah, no.
It does happen and my whole family is sick right now.
And I'm getting over an illness. I don't know how many of these laughs I'm going to keep where they sound like I'm like...
I just seem to have the immunity right now.
Only, besides the military on the ground, we also get shots of this satellite zoom out in the remake, which it hints about what's about to happen because it talks about like perimeter protocol or initiate quarantine. I can't remember all the little things they put in there, but I assume that is the Pentagon officials watching from afar.
Right.
We don't have the socio-political stuff that Romero has in the original and the remake. So yeah, we want to talk about another big scene?
All right. So towards the end in the 1973 one, Judy is already sick. It's just David and Judy at this point. David tries to hide her. He himself is able to hide, but because she's a little crazy, she can't handle it. She goes from laughter to crying. She gives her position away really fast. David has to come in and kill a few people. And then he gets aided by townspeople who we don't know if they're crazy or not, are killing the military people. They just could be resisting. But then they mistake him. They almost shoot him because he's hiding one of the outfits. He takes it off to reveal it's him, but someone does shoot Judy, and Judy is killed.
Yeah, I think that's why Judy started running away from him, too, was that he's in the gas mask suit.
Right.
And she doesn't realize, because I guess the gas mask changes voices. I did find that scene a little funny, where he's up in the tower, and he takes off the soldier's mask that he just stabbed in the back, and then he's like, I'm taking a piss. And oh, okay. It's just like, it's a totally different voice, but okay.
You talk differently when you pee, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I'm taking a piss.
Next thing will be known as the P-cast. Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah.
No!
No? All right.
I'm out.
Colonel Peckham gets orders that he's being sent to Louisville to see if the contagion is spread outside of Evans City. David and Peckham cross paths briefly, and the military doctor asks if he wants to check him for immunity, but the doctor scoffs at the idea as a waste of resources. It doesn't help that David lets himself look kind of crazy, because I think David is pissed off enough that he knows he's immune, and he doesn't care. He's like, F humanity, we're just going to let them all burn, because they killed the only woman I love and my unborn child. I'm pissed at the world. And another part of all this story going on, we have Dr. Watts, who's developing a cure for the virus. It's kind of left ambiguous if he really developed it, because he took off all the protective gear because it was hard to use the high school science equipment. He took off the gas mask, he took off the suit.
As a person with glasses, it's hard to look through microscopes when you have glasses, so I can imagine with a whole gas mask apparatus on your face to like try to, yeah.
Yeah, of course. And he's so close to all this contaminated blood that he's working with. He thinks he's found the cure, but the scientist that's working with him, he can't explain it to her. She's like, before you go, tell me what you've done. But he gets frustrated with the radio signal system. He's like, I'll just deliver this myself. He takes the vials, which are just glass, with him, 2 vials of this.
Yeah, he didn't even cover it with saran wrap or put a cork stopper in there. He literally has open, you wouldn't do this.
He's crazy.
Maybe he's sick, right? Maybe he's sick at this point.
Maybe he's
don't
sick.
know.
He believes he's developed a cure. But because he doesn't put back the outfit on, he's too much in a rush to put the outfit back on, the gas mask back on. The moment he gets out there, because he's in the high school, where they're also rounding up all the crazies from the town. All the locals are there. So when he gets in the hallway, the soldiers don't believe him that he's the scientist. He tells them he's working for the colonel. They don't believe him. They throw him in general population. That leads to a stampede where everybody tries to escape. So he falls over, his head busts open, there's blood, and those vials crack. So if there was any cure there, that's also lost. And it's just really frustrating. And then lastly, we see that Colonel leaves Evans City. He has to change his clothes, get completely naked, take off his gas mask. There's a new set of clothes for him to put on, and he's pulled up into a helicopter. The credits roll as the military soldiers burn the clothes that he was just wearing, and the song Heaven Help Us plays, which is performed by Beverly Bremmers, and that plays over the credits. One fascinating detail is that anytime they were filming outside, the locals got to come watch. There was a perimeter set up, so they weren't in the shot. And since this was an overhead shot, they had to stand a little further back. But he's getting naked, and people were complaining that they came to watch this, and this man gets naked in front of them. It doesn't help that they brought their kids. But the critic that did the commentary never brought up whether or not it had to do with race, because he is a black man.
Yeah, we didn't mention that, too, about the race thing. So I know, sorry, a little tangent here, but I know in Night of the Living Dead, he said he didn't choose Ben to be a particular race. He just kind of went with the best actor who tried out for the part, right?
Exactly.
So with this, do you know how Pekin got passed? Was that on purpose? Because I was looking up, even today, how many people of color that are colonels in the U.S. military is... It doesn't match our general population in the U.S., let's say. It's not like that.
Sure. I don't know. I mean, I assume it's the same thing, because the Romero I was talked about, he just cast based on who did the best at the role. So if he thought this person just fit the role best, he cast him that way.
Okay.
But again, the critic didn't mention if race had anything to do with
Okay.
it. But all these families that are around were just like, covering their kids' eyes, because like,
it's a naked man.
This man's getting naked. This naked man in front of us.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's like, how I guess you could play it off, because like the attention to detail there, right? They even have the which we haven't mentioned, but they use UV lights everywhere, so you could have everybody take off their mask. Else you have a film of everybody wearing a fucking mask all the time. So they do that, which I guess works in the 2010 version because you don't get the behind the scenes view from the military. So it helps with casting and you don't have to have all that. You do see stuff, again, homage to the original, where they are kind of wiping down people with UV lights as they come into the quarantine when they first take in Russell, David, and Judy. But how they had him, we're going to do that. You're going to change out of your old clothes. They're going to burn it as you lift up and you have new clothes there. So it makes you think like the doctor must be sick, because why wouldn't he know, being a scientist, Dr. Watts, sorry, being a scientist, why wouldn't he take the precaution if he has the cure? So I lean that he must be ill.
Right.
And it's not just an oversight of the director just kind of rushing this scene.
No.
They wanted, that he was... So I don't think he actually had a cure because of that.
I don't either. But it's funny because a lot of the wikis and stuff listed as he found a potential cure, but it's a tragedy because the whole film is... I've read a review that the film is a series of tragedies at the end. Judy dies, he's immune and doesn't tell anybody that he's immune, and the scientists actually found a cure, but he's killed before he can tell anybody.
Yeah, because they don't talk about how fast it takes.
Yeah.
And it's like immediately they assume it's airborne when everybody gets it through drinking the water.
Right.
Because I mentioned that's where the plane crashed and it went down into the water supply to the town. That's what the military does. And the same in the 2010 version. It's a plane that's carrying it that crashes into the river that is going into the reservoir and the aquifer that goes to the town. So, but it goes airborne. Because there's a scene where in the 2010 version where they manage to kind of overtake a soldier and they pull off his mask and they're asking him what's going on. And that's another thing that that's the little bit of the commentary I guess I didn't mention with how they portray the military, is that the guys here, grunts, the privates, whatever they would be, the soldiers here aren't really told anything. They were just
They're also worried about getting sick.
I mean, they're worried about getting sick. They were told keep your mask on at all times, but they don't know why they're here, why they're killing civilians. That soldier is pretty disgusted by what he's doing, and he doesn't want to kill them. He's like, hey, I don't want to do this. They just kind of put me on a plane and didn't tell me shit. And yeah, I do know, like with the National Guard, if they're going to put people like what happened in LA and ship them there, none of those people, it's not like, we'll just get the reservists from California. That way they don't have to travel so far. But they don't want to do that. You want to have people that have no connections to the community. So that way you're fine with oppressing these people if they get out of line.
Of course.
So, yeah. And probably, less is better. That way you just tell people whatever you want them to believe so they do what you want them to do. So, yeah, the ending of the 2010 version is, again, something that doesn't happen in the original. It is alluded to, as they do talk about possibility of dropping a nuclear bomb. which I think is drastic. Again, I know it was a couple years before this came out, and maybe that's why they didn't want to do it. But especially even like in '73, they were using napalm in Vietnam. So that seems like, okay, you just burn the whole place down with napalm instead of nuclear fallout and everything. But yeah, that's what they went with. So in this one, They actually do drop a bomb. So yeah, they have a big fight scene with, throughout this movie, there's a couple of sequences where they run across these poachers, and they have been going around hunting the citizens of the town. They have like a truck full of bodies.
It reminds me of The Purge.
Yeah, there's a lot of correlations there. I don't know if it's on purpose or what, but yeah, because it was a scene when you first see this, they're running through town after they just rescued Judy, and they have Becca with them as well, and they're trying to get out of town, but it's just the forethought of the military operation. They have booted every vehicle they could find for the most part, except for this one, and Russell finds it, and then Sheriff David sees that, oh wait, there's bodies in the back. Let's not take this. Somebody's using it. And you see him a couple of times, but basically it comes to a head when they're at a truck stop and they have to fight these poachers off. Then they get into the big rig 18-wheeler semi-tractor trailer. So many names for these vehicles. We went back and forth.
I counted one in the road today. I got to 18. I was like, yep, it's still an 18-wheeler.
A little behind the scenes. We were talking about it because I felt weird calling it a big rig, and I know, yeah.
My in-laws drove them.
Apparently a lot of people called different kinds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a buddy that was a trucker, and he drove them, but yeah.
The moment my wife graduated high school and went to college, they told her, okay, we've been putting this off for a while, but we want to be truckers. And they just took off and were truckers for like over a decade.
Just since we're talking about truckers and semis, it's kind of horror adjacent, but my favorite truck of a trucker is the Pork Chop Express from Big Trouble in Little China.
which you've brought up before.
I know. I love that film. It's Carpenter. He's
Carpenter,
horror adjacent. Yeah. So after they defeat the poachers in the truck stop, they get in the big rig and they haul us out. One of the people that they killed had a radio. One of the military people. The radio starts having a countdown as they're driving. I think it's like at 30 when they're driving. And I was also trying to think of how far they could have gone on foot. They mentioned kind of distance they're going from like downtown. They had to go, I think, 5 miles if they caught across the McGregor's land to get to the police cruiser that they were using for a moment there. But they might be 15 miles at this point away from the center of downtown where you see a nuclear blast go off. And what I read is that they didn't use green screen here. They actually dropped a bomb on the set. Damn it! All right. I just want to do a bit where we always like talk shit about the green screen, and this is real. It's all real, man.
Yeah, we did that with the eye gouge you did 28 days later.
I know. That's why I wanted to keep it going. I was hoping for a better laugh, but no.
Sorry.
Damn it.
You can insert one later.
Anyways, yeah, so the bomb goes off. Yeah. You go and watch those tests when they're dropping the tests, those old ones from the 50s when they're dropping them in. All those guys have like the thick visors. They would have some blindness from that shit. Oh, those retinas would be burned.
They closed Not completely. Eyes. They're fine. They closed their eyes.
Yeah, they kind of shielded their eyes.
They were looking the other way too, you know?
Well, David was. Judy was not. She was looking outside. Do you see anything yet? Boom! Oh, shit! So anyways, that truck is blown off the ground. They get out. They actually kind of walk towards where the blast was and look at it, which I don't recommend.
No.
Get the fuck away as fast as possible. Anyways, just me talking about the mileage is probably like, they're probably dead anyways from the nuclear radiation. They just got a unhealthy dose.
No, they're immune, man.
To Trixie, maybe.
Yeah.
To Trixie, maybe. Yeah, but the last scene is basically them walking towards Cedar Rapids, and then it cuts out before the credits roll with another satellite zoom out and saying, Cedar Rapids, initiate quarantine protocol. Scene end, movie's done. Yeah, so then they're walking, and it kind of pans up, and you see Cedar Rapids in the horizon, and then it cuts to a satellite zoom out on them in a farm field. And it zooms up, and then it kind of pans over to Cedar Rapids, where it then kind of talks about the population there and initiating quarantine protocol. Yeah, the lockdown. And
right. They're going to blow that one up, too.
Yeah, let's just have nuclear fallout in the Midwest. Sounds like a great idea.
Right? Oh my gosh. So, additional talking points. For me, the 1973 movie is really about frustrating government and how badly they run this. And it's, for me, seems the most frustrating with their voice identification system. It slows everything down. It's a real frustration for many of the characters who might actually be there trying to help the community. Do you feel like there was anything in the 2010 movie that was the same way for you?
To me, not to get too political or anything, but yeah, just the portrayal of like the videos you see of ICE right now, like it's definitely kind of, they did really good job of how the military would just kind of go get people, how they would initiate a quarantine and kind of just take people out of there. Yeah, it's just pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was a little more comically done in the 1973 because you see people going for stuff they want, but you see the soldiers looting the houses. One soldier takes a fishing pole, another soldier takes these like coupons that you can cash in at a grocery store. I was asking my dad, what are those? They look like a lottery tickets in a raffle. And he goes, oh, those are coupons. You could collect hundreds of those and you could turn those in for groceries. So you saved all of those back then. And you found any of them, you saved them all.
And that's why they started printing, limiting one per customer now on coupons a day, right?
Well, I think the goal then was to save 1,000 for like a certain price.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess it comes to, okay, they have to buy this product to get these things, so they'll just buy more of the product to get it. But yeah. So I wanted to bring up Echoes of Horror. There's actually a cameo from the original film in the 2010 version. When Sheriff David is putting two and two together, because again, we don't have the little military side scenes explaining what's going on. So he has figured out that there might be something going on in the town's water supply. He's trying to make some phone calls because the next local jurisdiction was supposed to pick up Will from the jail, and they haven't been there yet. They tried calling, and the phone was out. He gets on the internet, and the internet's out. So he's freaking out, not freaking out, but he's definitely thinks something's up. He goes out into downtown, and it's empty. Don't know if that's the norm at this point for this town, or if they had already kind of maybe started rounding up people, unbeknownst to him. But it's an eerie scene anytime there's like just one person out in the downtown area during the daytime. But then he starts hearing somebody singing, and then out comes a woman on a bike. I think she's singing like, Yes, Jesus Loves Me, or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. And just kind of going, acting like everything's fine, and she's having a great day. She goes by. That person was the actress Lynn Lowry who played Kathy.
That's really cool.
My first introduction to these movies, I watched the 2010 version when it came out into the theaters. And at the time, yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the 28 Days, and so I kind of thought it was a ripoff of the 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, not knowing that it was made by Romero back in 73. So, yeah, seeing this, when you suggested this, I was like, oh, wow, yeah. And kind of putting the two together, it's just, yeah, I like how they definitely did it.
There's a lot of her in the behind the scenes. There's a featurette where they interviewed her, and she talked about it a lot. She says she actually likes this new one a lot, but she thinks the original has more staying power. She says she thinks in 50 years people will still be talking about the 1973 movie, and people aren't going to talk about the 2010 one unless it's because they brought up the 1973 one, which I found fascinating because I really like the 2010 one as well.
I mean, I like both. I think what hampers it is just it wasn't as well made. It didn't have the budget. They did what they could with it, and that's kind of what dates it so much. Where there's definitely other movies from that era that definitely had a much bigger budget that are definitely amazing. I mean, The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways. I'm not here to go on about other movies, but it's definitely, like I said, I think they both have a nice part in it.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing, she says she went to acting because she tried modeling because everybody in the world told her she should be a model. She says to this day, people said that she has this amazing nose, and they ask if it's artificial, and she says no, it's like it's her birth nose. But it's funny because when she went into modeling, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you're gonna need a nose job. There's no way that nose will make it." But she's like, people love this nose. But unfortunately, every time she went for a modeling shoot, it was always the guy trying to see how far he can get her undressed because he was trying to sleep with her. So eventually, she's like, "Okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna try acting." And so that's why she switched from modeling to acting.
Yeah, I mean, it's been going on since forever, I'm sure. I know.
Sure, dawn of time.
Yeah, it's the early days of the silent film era. Like there were starlets that were abused that way. Yeah, world's full of sick people.
So I find value in both films. I do like how the remake took a different point of view and how it didn't focus on the military as much. Do you feel that the 2010 film succeeded in updating an older film? And if so, what changes did you enjoy the most?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they had the better budget, even adjusted for inflation. I know the budget definitely hampered Romero, but to me, the original comes off as more of an action drama, between the cuts, going back and forth. There's like never a slow moment in the original film. Like it's just what's happening here. Okay, where they're going. And then it goes what's happening behind the scenes. And it's just the acting between everybody. It's like really fast. Everybody's always frustrated on the military side. The major's upset because the supplies, the men, whatever he wants isn't there when he wants it. And Colonel Peckham is just pissed off at the people under him, but he's also kind of getting it from both sides with the people from the Pentagon or wherever. But yeah, it just kept, I don't know, it works for me to keep my attention just going back and forth on what's happening next. I don't know, did you find that?
Yeah, I mean, I like both of them. For the new one, I like that they ramped up the horror to me. There's the scene where you described earlier where Judy is strapped to the bed. There's a guy that comes in with a farming tool and is dragging across the ground.
The principal.
Oh, it's the principal.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's
Principal
right.
Ben.
Principal Ben comes in with this pitchfork. It's scraping against the ground. They used it for posters, and it creeped me out. Like I know people like to say, "Oh, I don't get scared anymore." Sure, whatever. I enjoy getting scared, so I don't mind putting myself on the mindset to get scared. And I saw that as, oh, that's scary.
Yeah, and it's funny because you mentioned the pitchfork. There is a scene where a pitchfork is used in the original one against the military, not against citizens. And that's the one thing where you see the silliness portrayed that the disease can also do. Because in that scene where the pitchfork's used in 73, it's basically a mob of infected people coming at the military. They're shooting some of them, but then they have some makeshift, I don't know if they had just dynamite laying around back in the day, or he made made some dynamite, but he flings some dynamite, blows up a few of them. One guy with the pitchforks coming through, stabbing people. And then behind all of those people is a woman with a broom sweeping up stuff afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you don't get that. Obviously, it's a little comical. But, I mean, again, if the disease can do that, I don't know if in the remake, I guess, they wanted to make it just kind of turns you into a homicidal person, I guess. Because laughing at like a hyena, you might be laughing like the Joker and you're wanting to cause mayhem. I don't know. But yeah, I did like that aspect. That's not quite in the 20. You don't see, it's all scary stuff. But again, like you said, it's definitely amping up the horror elements for sure.
Nice. So I have another recurring segment, which I like to bring up, is where I point out where I would die in a film. For this one, for me, I either think I would die when the government showed up and I either tried fighting to protect my family, or if I do escape, I would probably die when one of my loved ones gets sick and I can't bring myself to kill them. Do you see yourself surviving in this film, or do you think you'd die as well?
Unless I was somehow immune to the disease, then yeah, I would probably die. And yeah, just want to ask though, so you assume your family would turn homicidal and not the childlike laughing mess or the daftly confused?
I don't know that for sure. I think that one of the members of my family definitely would, because if it just takes out their ability to see anything wrong, I joke because I swear he's gonna grow up to be an asshole. But
this is your son.
You got it right. Yeah, hey, he walked into my foot. Okay, his face walked into my foot. My foot's been up there. I'm kicking. He knew it was going to be there. He walked into my foot. Obviously I'm joking, but I think with this disease taking over, that's probably the place he would go. If it takes away any moral fortitude, whatever, anything that stops you, any barrier that would stop you from really doing that. I got so much family. There's 7 people in this house. One of them's going to go homicidal.
Gotcha. Yeah, so assuming I'm not immune, and I would have probably been captured regardless, and I probably would have died fighting off the military somehow, either trying to escape or, jumping on them. I don't know. Yeah, if everybody around me is sick, I'm going to try to get isolated as far from everybody else as possible. But yeah, I'd probably get shot by the military.
All right, so in another segment for the Nightmare Echoes podcast, we're doing Survivor's Guide. So we can give you a practical tip to survive in case this happens to you. For me, I know my family always stocks up on at least a month's supply of bottled water on hand. I think this started when the last snowpocalypse happened and we couldn't leave for so long. We were just like, okay, from now on, we're just always going to have 3 pallets of water just in case we need it. And we're blessed with a lot of pantry space, so we could fit that no problem. And so I think that's just something, if the water were to get infected and if somehow we found out about it, we would be drinking from this water instead and maybe at least not go crazy as fast as everybody else does.
I still have some N95 respirators at my house after COVID that I didn't have to use because my job's had them. So if it went airborne, I think I'd be okay there, assuming it can't go through an N95 respirator.
Right.
If it could stop viruses, then it should be okay. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I also do have some bottled waters at home as well. And other than that, I have a healthy dose of historical knowledge that governments are kind of out for number one sometimes. So, yeah.
That's me. I'm number one. I'm just kidding.
Not what I meant, sir. Not what I meant.
I know.
I meant it another way, figuratively.
Did I tell you about my Humble Award? I keep it on hand. It's right there.
So I wanted to ask you a little question here.
Sure.
So in the original film, there's a montage scene when the military comes to town and wants to corral everybody. So in this scene, I want you to choose where you would have been. So first up, we got grooving to what sounds like CCR at the dance hall, crying for a stuffed animal, be it is a child that they're getting, futilely fighting like hell. As a small boy gets picked up, he's like really attacking the military guy that has him. Another guy is seen trying to go to his, I don't think it's a gun safe, it's just a gun cabinet. Then there's others that are pulled over driving somewhere. There's others that they just kind of bust into the door, but they go into a motel and there's people spending a romantic night together. There's other people working at the motel, but maybe you're working at another job. Maybe you were sleeping and you're woken up when somebody turns on the light and you complain, turn off the light. And the other one is just you're in your house just chilling. Who knows, maybe recording a podcast and they come in and interrupt you.
That's most likely what I'm doing. I'm always editing or almost recording. I'm always watching a movie. But always are all my martial arts weapons that I have from my over a decade in Taekwondo. So
I see that.
I got my bow staff here. I have my kamas right there. I can just stand up and grab my kamas. So I'm ready to fight. I have a few knives around. I don't have any firearms. As much as I like to research and learn about them for film critic purposes, I don't actually own any firearms.
He lives in Texas. Everybody in Texas has guns. Do not believe him.
I'm not admitting to anything. Anyway.
Plausible deniability.
Right. I think I would die as the military comes in and I'm trying to whack the gun out of their hand with the bow staff. If I'm fast enough and knock them off guard, they don't see it coming, maybe I can get control of that weapon and turn it around on them.
Sure.
But that's probably where I'm going to be when they're doing it. Also, at the same time, once I take them all out, I will go for my Gizmo and Gremlin pop figures that I want to keep with me in the afterlife. So, oh, that's fun.
All right, you got another one you want to talk about?
Yeah, a little fun segment I like to call Behind the Blood, where we point out a piece of trivia that I learned from the special features that I found was noteworthy. The first one is that in the 1973 movie, the house that burned down was already scheduled for demolition.
Oh.
So they kind of were at the right place at the right time, and they got lucky that they could just burn it down for free, and it did not increase their budget at all. The second one is just that because Romero had already filmed in the town, everybody was already friendly, and they also got to use some of the actors. Like the first zombie we meet in Night of the Living Dead that gets...
That they're trying to get Barbara?
Right, no, they're coming for you, Barbara. That guy, the guy that kills the guy that's annoying and saying that, right? That zombie?
Yeah.
Is this guy that's shooting at the military officers in their building from behind a building, and he leaves the building to go behind a tree, which is not as great of a spot, and then he's reloading, and they take him out while he's reloading. That guy is the same guy that played the original zombie, the first one we see in Night of the Living Dead. I think that's kind of fun.
I did notice, like, yeah, like you said, like they're kind of walking. Like there's in the 73 version where like the military guys are getting shot at, and some of the guys are just standing there, and while other guys are going for cover. It makes sense for somebody that's infected that will go to buy a tree and do. But I did see that in the credits they did talk to a military personnel as a consultant, but I guess he didn't really talk about how to better fight. It might have just been about rank and whatnot, because they didn't have the internet back then, so you probably had to go like, what's this? Is this insignia the one for the colonel? Is this the insignia for a major? So, yeah. Anyways.
Sure. Another silly segment I think is fun is writing Nightmare Echo review book, Haunted Guest Book. So this is where fictional people from the movie leave reviews about the event they've experienced in Haunted Guest Book. So 1 star, Evans City, Pennsylvania. Absolutely terrible experience. The military kept barging into my home without knocking. The neighbors were either burning things or shooting at me. And the so-called customer service involved gas masks and rifles. No working hospitals, no decent restaurants, unless you count looting the general store. And the water tastes funny, probably because of that little plane crash. Not recommended for family vacations. On the plus side, plenty of open housing now.
I guess, yeah, for the 73 version, yeah, because that's Evan City.
Right, yeah.
Everything's burned down in nuclear waste in 2010 version.
Right. Plenty of open land.
Yeah, really cheap because it'll kill you.
Yeah, right, exactly. Now for the segment, Gone But Not Forgotten. Becca Darling, You Should Have Been a Final Girl. From the Crazies 2010, played by Daniel Panabaker. Becca Darling starts off as the most grounded and sympathetic character in the Crazies. She's a small-town girl, kind, dependable, and loyal, working alongside Dr. Judy Dutton at the local clinic. She's not a fighter at the beginning, but she's someone you can instantly trust, the kind of person that runs towards danger if someone is hurt. As the Trixie virus begins infecting the townspeople, Becca gets swept up in the chaos. She's quarantined with Judy and the others when the military locks down Ogden Marsh, and she witnesses the horrors of government response, armed soldiers, screaming civilians, and infected friends turning on each other. David and Russell break Judy and Becca out of the containment area, and the 4 of them become a small unit of survivors trying to navigate the world collapse around them. Becca proves herself again and again, staying calm, following directions, and doing her best to help others even when everyone's falling apart. Their escape leads them to the film's most memorable and nerve-shredding sequence, the car wash scene. They pull into a seemingly empty car wash, hiding from a nearby helicopter. As the machinery starts up, the scene turns into a catastrophic nightmare. The water sprays, the brushes slam against the car, and the visibility drops to 0. The perfect setup for a sudden attack. An infected townsman suddenly burst into the car. In the chaos, Becca is yanked out of the vehicle, screaming as the others try desperately to reach her. The sound of the machines drown everything out. Her voice, their panic, the pounding of the glass. By the time they make their way through, it's too late. Becca's dead, killed off in the movie's most shocking and emotional moments. The water runs red, and the group is left reeling, especially Judy, who has grown protective of her. Becca's death hit hard because it feels so unfair. She didn't make a foolish mistake, she didn't split off from the group, and she didn't freeze. She just got caught in a moment where there was no way to win. Why should Becca have been a final girl? She had all the qualities of one, kind-hearted, level-headed, and resilient. Her death serves shock value, but her character deserves a real arc. She could have carried the emotional weight of a survivor. She was proof that in the Crazies no one is safe, not even the most capable and good-hearted. Did you have anything else, or should I do the outro?
Yeah, I think that's it, man.
All right, cool. I thank everybody for listening. We are Nightmare Echoes. Thank you, Joseph, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We have new episodes every Monday. We're also now on YouTube under Immortal Veer. It's hard. If you search Nightmare Echoes, it doesn't come up right. But if it's under Immortal Veer, you can also search for the movies we've done. But the link is in the description of this episode. So if you find the link there, it'll take you right to our YouTube page. So I want to advertise that. All right. Until next time. Bye.
See you guys and gals. I'm out.